अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So we are into the second class of sequentially bound modification, क्रमबद्ध पर्याय. Okay. In the last class, we had discussed what is sequentially bound modification, whether it is a substance or it is an attribute or is it a modification. So the answer was that it is neither of these three. It is a system. It is a system of what? It's a system of transformation of substance and attributes. Okay. So this is a system. What were the four characteristics of this system? Sequentially, then
Sequentially,
predetermined,
prefixed,
prefixed or predetermined, very good.
yes, organized
Very
or
good, systematic
systematic,
or organized, yeah.
yes, and independent.
Very good, independent. So this four defines the system of sequentially bound modification. Then we
Yes.
went to then we moved to the definition of this from different scriptures, and we discussed around 7 references from different scriptures written by acharyas and scholars. Okay, and then in all the 7 definitions, one thing that stood out very common was the basis of omniscience. This sequentially bound modification principle can only be proved when we consider omniscience as the basis. Okay. So now the next question is, who is an omniscience? Right. And that's what we are going to start today with. Fifth module. We are going to see 8 references from the scriptures about the omniscience. Okay. Who is a omniscience, what are his function, what he could see, what he could not see, everything. So the definition is very simple. We have been reading it since Bal Bodh, who is a Arihant or a Keval Gyani, omniscient. The one who has manifested knowledge to the fullest is an omniscient, complete knowledge. Okay. So in complete knowledge, he could see all the substances of this universe along with their attributes and modifications of all 3 times simultaneously in the present. Okay. That is what we define as omniscience. One who knows everything. In simple language, we will say one who knows everything. Okay. Everything means everything. Okay. That is omniscience. And now we will see the references from different scriptures. So before we start on to those references, yeah, Himali, your question.
So I wanted to ask you, in the publisher's note, it is written that, they are talking about effort and, sequentially bound modifications. So it says, that in this right belief, self-doership, inherent doership, right effort are all woven into this process of self-realization. So, self-effort is also there. So why, when a monk, gets unwell, why does he not do self-effort?
Why does
He not do self-effort?
self-effort is happening all the time, even if you do or don't do. Self-effort is a natural nature of the each substance. There is this power attribute, virya gun. So this effort is a modification of this power attribute, virya gun. and that virya gun is present in all the 6 types of substances. So all the 6 substances who are transforming every moment, okay, they are transforming just because they have a power attribute in them. So their functioning is happening because of their power attribute. Okay. So power attribute is anyway manifesting every moment. Okay. Now, the kind of self effort or the effort that we were talking about, so at certain times, as I said, keep any action to happen, there are 5 causes, concomitant factors, 5 some by. Okay. Out of this, effort is also one of the factors, right? So when we consider from the viewpoint of eligibility of the moment, and eligibility of the moment means 2 concomitant factors coming together. One is predestined time, Kallabdhi, and the other is destiny, Bhavitavya. Okay. So when we talk from that point of view, then we can say that the efforts are also uh, prefixed. We can say like that. When we talk from that point of view, destiny or predestined time. Okay. But when we want to talk from the point of view of effort, then we will say that you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. Okay. So effort is the only concomitant factor that is in our hand.
Yeah.
All the 4 factors we cannot do anything, right? And that's why these preachings has been given, that you do this, you will get all the other factors coming to you and your desired action will happen. Okay. So there are 2 perspectives. You will many a times read or listen that the efforts are also predestined.
Yeah.
Okay. So that I have a objection to that. It has been written in scriptures and it has been advocated by many scholars also. But where the lack is that from what perspectives we are talking. If you are talking from the perspective of effort, and if you say the effort is also predestined, right, then effort is 0.
Yeah.
When it is happened, it will happen. But
Yeah.
no, that is the wrong interpretation. When you talk from the effort perspective, you have to say that you have to do this intentionally. Buddhi Purvak, you have to do something. And then whatever happens is the eligibility of the moment that everyone accepts, right? But in terms of action, you have to do. When we are talking from the efforts, that is the only difference.
Okay.
But people don't realize such subtle difference, because to analyze this in a subtle manner, you have to spend time with Jinvani, not only reading or memorizing, but thinking, contemplating. Then you will be able to realize that how logical is this one. When we are talking from the perspective of effort, you have to say what you can do intentionally. Okay, what you can do. So the scriptures is full of statements like samyak darshan karo, right? So that is being said from the effort perspective. But there are other statements also that samyak darshan karne ki cheez nahi hai, hone ki cheez hai. Right? So that is from the perspective of destiny or predestined time. Now this much difference, if you understand, then everything is good. But if you falter here, then somewhere down the line, your efforts are muted. Getting? So what we have established is that we will do whatever we can at our capacity level and then relax. Relax. Let the destiny or the predestined time come on its own and things will happen. So in this scenario, we are not foregoing efforts. At the same time, we are not impatient also. So this is called the balance. You need to have a balance of the 5 commitment factors. Okay. You can talk from one perspective at a time. You cannot talk all the 5 concomitant factors, right? Because speech has got limitation. So when you are talking from the effort point of view, you have to say that you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, right? Now, Similarly, if you transform this whole concept into 4 exposition, then Dravyana says that you don't have to do anything. It's all happening. You are just an observer. But at the simultaneously, there is a Charnan Yoga, which says that what action you have to take at the desired time.
Right.
Right? So
Mm.
we need to strike a balance between 5 commitment factors. We need to strike a balance between 4 exposition. We need to strike a balance between real point of view and conventional point of view. Right? So if you are able to strike a balance, then you are all good. You will put the efforts also, desired efforts also, and at the same time, you will not be impatient. You will not be depressed that I am putting in so much effort and nothing is happening. That question will never come if you understand it properly. Okay. But people generally take it like that the efforts are also predestined. Now this defeats the very purpose of explaining effort. Effort is being explained that something that you can do at your end. This is the only factor in your hand. All other 4 factors are not in our hand. So we cannot do anything there. What we can do intentionally is here, and that's why so much of preachings has been given. There was no use of preachings if effort were also predestined. Right? Then it has to happen, it will happen. Then why we are talking so much of efforts? Why we are doing Swadhyay? Why we are doing this? Why we are going to Mandirji? Everything will happen automatic. So that excuse you cannot give. If you are understanding in that manner, then your efforts will always be muted and it will not be at the desired level. What is your potential, right? We are all potentially complete to take action, put in the right efforts and understand it properly and manifest right belief. Okay, we have got all the associations that we require to manifest right belief. Now, only thing that we need to put in is our effort. Okay, Jia, you're getting?
Sir, I have a doubt about this, sir. What is the right effort then? Means to understand that we can't do anything. Is it right effort?
The right effort is the decision making. Todarmalji defined very nicely in the 9th chapter, Purushat se Moksh Prapti. Tattva Nirnay. Decision about the real elements, fundamental elements. Okay. Decision about the reality. Your effort is limited only up to the decisions that you take. And decisions only come when you contemplate. And before contemplate, you have to read. Okay, so we have 3 steps in terms of effort. You study, Swadhyay, then Chintan Manan, contemplation, and then decision, Nirnay, Tattva Nirnay. That's all. Okay, so everywhere when we talk of efforts, 3 steps you have to keep in mind. Okay, now this is what I talk from the real point of view. From the conventional point of view, we can say efforts, what is being said in the worldly existence. That I came to Bombay with only 500 rupees in my pocket. And today I am a billionaire, right? So there people define those as effort, right? 9 wickets had fallen and still 100 runs to go. And the last pair did that 100 runs target. And we say that, oh, what a good effort. So that is all being okay with from the conventional point of view. But from the real point of view, it is the decision making power that you develop. That is only the effort. So in that decision making power or the decisions that you make, okay, so that is there to you to understand that you are not the doer and you are an observer. Things are happening automatically. And when the predestined time comes, things happen automatically. Whatever you can say about that. But when we define efforts, it will be these 3 steps only. You got your answer, Soumya? Now, what you were suggesting as effort is also included in this decision making. That's
Yes,
what
sir.
you wanted to say, no? That
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah. So this is the final gist that I have said about the efforts. Everywhere you apply this, and this is again from the real point of view. Conventional
The
point of
correct
view,
understanding, sir. Tattva
yeah.
Nirnay is the right effort.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tattva Nirnay is the only right effort. That is where the effort ends. Beyond that, it is all naturally, spontaneously, automatically happening. So बुद्धि पूर्वक we will do the effort and जो हो जाए वही सही है, तत्समय की योग्यता अनुसार कार्य होता है. Eligibility of the moment, right? That defines the action. So we will do what we can do at our level intentionally and wait patiently for the action to happen. Now this will develop a passions in you. But having said that, you are not procrastinating. You are doing what is required to do at that point of time. Okay.
Sir, I have one other question about this
Yes.
only. Sir, those persons who say that effort is also predestined, they are
Yeah.
also right in one perspective.
Yeah, they are right
Yeah.
from the destiny and the predestined time perspective. 5 concomitant factors, 5 समवाय. So स्वभाव, निमित्त, कालब्धि and भवितव्य. These 4 is something that is not in our hand, right? So when you talk from the perspective of predestined time or the destiny, it is okay that efforts are also predestined, no problem.
Okay.
But you have to highlight the perspective, or even if you are not highlighting, it is to be understood. The other thing is, when you talk from the perspective of effort, then if you say that the effort is also predestined, then it's wrong. This is only the clarification that I want. Otherwise, everything is there in the scriptures and everything is there with the scholars. But what they lack is, and this is also from the scriptures only. Who has said this? Samanbhadra Acharya in Aptamimansa, that is Devagam Sostra that we have studied in Tattvagyan. In that he mentions this, that in efforts, in terms of efforts, you have to define what you can do buddhi purvak, intentionally, consciously. Okay, you cannot say that the efforts are also predestined. Then there is no point in talking and there is no point in giving any preachings. Why it is preachings? Why preachings are there? So that you follow that, you understand that, you do the efforts in the right direction and you get the desired result.
Sir, one more thing is when we are reading Krambadh Paryay.
Yes.
So in this KBP, whatever is happening or whatever will happen in the future is already known to the Sarvagya
Yes.
Bhagwan.
Yes.
That means what all these 5 concomitant factors we are talking about is already in the knowledge of Bhagwan, that
Yes.
the Purusharth, one jeev will do Purusharth or not do Purusharth. Everything is predestined in to say.
Yes.
So
Sarvagna knows everything, right?
Yeah.
You
So
continue.
Praman mein, sir, in Praman, if we are not talking from one perspective per se, but looking at the total picture, 360-degree view Praman,
Yes.
then Purusharth is also a predetermined factor.
Yes. But I'll tell you one thing here. Sarvagna knows everything, but you don't know, no?
Yeah.
So you have to do the efforts,
Yes.
what is required at
Yes,
that
sir.
point of time.
Yes, sir.
Sarvagna knows everything. We don't deny that, right? But we don't know. So I don't know. So I will put my 100% whatever I can. And then whatever happens, I will accept. Sarvagna knew this and it has happened. I will accept this. So while doing efforts, I will not procrastinate. One thing. And in terms of results, if it goes wrong, then also I will not be experiencing anxiety or perturbedness, because I know that it all happens according to Sarvagna. So I am in a win-win situation everywhere. My efforts are also 100%. At the same time, I am ready to accept the outcome also, whatever it is. Right? So,
Sir, ideally, the effort should not have been included in these 5 concomitant
no,
things.
effort has to be included. Why? Because
Sir,
effort is the only thing that is in our hand.
It is in our hands. So it should not be included in the predestined bracket at all. Otherwise, it's creating confusion.
See, but when you are talking from the perspective of predestined time or destiny, we can very well include. There is nothing wrong in that. That efforts are also predestined. Okay, fine. You are talking from destiny because destiny says that everything is predestined. That is what destiny says. And predestined.
It's good that we can we can reduce our sorrows, we can be happy, we can be
Yes,
satisfied.
yes, yes. There
But
are
it is
lot
not
of
practical,
things.
sir. It's not
No,
practical.
no, but actually, I just come in over here. Even the amount of effort you will put is also predestined.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
So-
you may think that okay, you're putting in the best, but the omniscient Lord knows that you are going to only put in this much effort, and then the outcome is going to be here. Like, the publisher says that if a thief is going to put in the effort, he'll say, okay, it was predestined, but then it is also predestined that you're going to go to jail or whatever. So all that is there. So your effort is also actually predestined. Like Sir said, you just don't know what is going to follow next. Only the omniscient Lord knows. So even the amount of effort you're going to put in is also predestined, isn't it, sir?
No, so if you say that, then your effort will be muted.
No, sir, we don't know. So we will try our best.
So when you talk from the
motivation is
perspective
not
of
there.
effort, when you talk from the perspective of effort, why can't you say that I will do my best? I will
Yeah.
intentionally do my best. That only
Yeah.
you have to say. There you cannot say that my effort is also predestined. If
No,
you
no,
say, that is what my point is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everything is good and all the scholars are saying all correct thing only. But here is the catch. Now, this much tilt will mute all your efforts, and that's what happening. People have become so lazy, so procrastinated that they don't realize when you talk something of them that it is all krambat, it is all krambat. But we have 4 exposition. There
That's
is
what
charna, there
very
is
tempting to be lazy.
yes, yes. And it defeats the very purpose of explaining this principle. If you say effort is also predestined, okay. So whenever we talk from the perspective of effort, we cannot say that statement. And this is I'm giving you reference from Apta Mimansa. If you want the page numbers, I will share, but it is old Hindi, old Hindi, not the modern Hindi. So, but anyway, I will share it. I didn't understand the language, but I will again try, and I will share the pages also, so that it is not that something we are talking from our own. It's also there in the scriptures, but people, want to depict what they have in mind. So they don't analyze everything. Now, if you analyze, it's all good. So we are accepting the efforts as predestined also, and we are also advocating what you need to do in terms of efforts. So we are into both the things. Okay, we are not only one-sided. So if you say that efforts are also predestined from the efforts point of view, then it is a one-sided depiction, and which is again wrong. So your mithyatva, your delusion will not go away if you understand it this way. And if you understand it this way, the real effort will also manifest and the things will also happen into action. Clear, Soumya?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is
Thank
something
you.
that we need to change,
So is this Anekantvad also? Is
yeah,
this
yes, Anekant.
Same, even
Striking a balance is Anekantvad in simple language.
even I wanted to say that from a long time.
So our all endeavor would be to strike a balance in every spheres of our life, whether it is upbringing of the children, whether it is relationship, whether it is doing the job, business, study, whatever we do, we need to bring in that balance, and with that balance, you will be enjoying every moment of life. With this balance, you will realize that there is no problem in this universe. These problems are because of disbalance. And the moment you achieve that balance, there is no problem. You show me a problem, you show me something that has happened which should not have happened. I can give you umpteen reasons. You pick up a newspaper, you will see all the crime news and these and that. Hey, बहुत बुरा हो गया, बहुत बुरा. अरे बुरा कुछ होता ही नहीं. Everything is so perfectly happening. Everything is happening in perfect order. And this is what Krambat Paryai's principle teaches us. But we miss the essence. Just because we have some doubts or not clarity about what is effort, what is this 5 concomitant factors. Okay. So speech has got limitation. So when you talk, you can talk from one of the perspective of the 5 concomitant factors. So when you talk from one perspective, other 4 factors are also there. It is not that the action has happened because of one factor. In action, all the 5 factors are equally contributing. Okay. But when you talk, you can talk from one perspective. So sometimes we talk from the perspective of instrumental cause. Sometimes we talk from the perspective of inherent nature. Sometimes we talk from the perspective of predestined time. And sometimes we talk from the perspective of destiny. And sometimes we talk from the perspective of effort. Okay. So we can talk only from one perspective. But in your knowledge, if you have other 4 factors also in your knowledge, then you are able to strike a balance. Otherwise, it is all one-sided, ekant. Okay. So this is the balance that we need to create, and it is bit of analysis that you have to do and some practice. You know, as you learn riding a bicycle, you know, first the balance doesn't come. But then when you learn to have a balance, then you are good. So everywhere it is similarly in swimming, right? So once you learn to strike a balance, you float. So everywhere, if you are able to strike a balance, you will always float. Always float means you will always enjoy. You will be above the what you can call your perspective will be above the average, you know. So you will have always a different dimension to everything, different understanding. And that is the real effort. To strike a balance is the real effort. And this balance can only be achieved by proper decision making. You are on mute. You are saying something, Hemali?
No, I was also saying decision making.
Okay, good. Okay, no problem. We have lot of discussions in the introduction. I think the whole of Kramat Parya is covered, but we will anyway read. So we are moving on to the fifth module, which defines the omniscience. Okay, that is very important because the Krambat Paryay principle and omniscience are connected. You cannot decide about this principle of sequentially bound modification without the support of omniscience. Okay, so the train will come at 10 o'clock and it has come at 10:30, it is late by 30 minutes. How you can say that? First the time has to be fixed, no, at 10 o'clock, then only you can say it is late by 30 minutes. So similarly, we have omniscience as our support system. He knows everything and he is depicted, as we will see in Prathaman Yoga. Dwarka Nagri, the Neminath Bhagwan told in his sermons that it will get burned. 12 years ago he said, and people tried to manipulate things, but it happened at the right time. Whatever has to happen has happened. So there we are going to prove it. Now let's see the definition, and definition also about omniscience, one who knows everything. That's all in one line, the whole definition. Now we'll just be reading it. There are 8 references. We have marked that 8 references last week. So we are not going to waste time after that. We are just going to read it out. Okay. Malteji, you read. But all his tireless efforts remain in vain. Got it? Page number?
Page 4.
No, not 4.
For us it is 4, sir.
Acha?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Page 4 of the draft.
Acha,
Yeah.
acha.
Fifth module. Fourth paragraph.
But all his tireless efforts remain in vain. Got it?
So should I share the screen?
Yeah, you can share. But I think everyone has the textbook.
Yeah. But all
Pratibha
his
ji, you have
tireless
taken a printout?
Yes, I have a printout. Thank you.
Okay, great. So everyone has a printout. So even if you don't share, it's fine. Because Anyway, okay, start.
But all his tireless efforts remain in vain, because when there is no path to begin with, how can one emerge? How is it possible that one accepts omniscience, yet denies knowledge of the future? The meaning of omniscient is one who knows all 3 times. One who cannot know the future, how can he be called omniscient? The very definition of omniscient is one who knows everything is omniscient. It has even been said, Sarva Dravya Paryayakeshu Kevalasya. The object of omniscience is all substances and their modifications across the 3 times. Whatever has already happened, is happening, and will happen in the future, all of it appears with absolute clarity to the omniscient Lord, as if in the present. While explaining the above verse, Acharya Pujapad Swami writes, should I read this, sir?
No, the next, English.
Each substance has across the 3 times its own infinitely infinite modifications. Omniscience encompasses them all. There is neither any substance nor a group of modifications that lie beyond the scope of omniscience. Its magnificence is boundless. It is to express this very truth that the verse uses in all substance modifications. In the same way, to accept that the future can be known, but not accept that the future is definite, how can that be possible? Even an ordinary person can say that the one who studies will pass. What divinity then remains in the knowledge of the omniscient? Acharya Kundakund says, if the unmanifest, the future and destroyed, that is past modifications, are not directly known in the knowledge of the omniscient, then who would call such knowledge divine? In Dhavla, Book 6, this very point is expressed. Question: how can there be knowledge through omniscience of entities that have been destroyed or that have not yet arisen? Answer: no, because omniscience is independent of any assistance. Therefore, even without reliance on external entities, there is no contradiction in the arising of the knowledge of the perished and the unmanifest. Acharya Amrit Chandra has discussed how the omniscient has direct and perfectly clear knowledge in a single moment of all knowables, along with their attributes and modifications, in the following manner. Since the knowing nature has the inherent capacity to know all knowables, it is as if the entirety of all substances, those that are sequentially active, infinite, possessed of past, present, and future, filled with diverse modifications, unfathomable in nature and profound, have become engraved in the knower substance, have become depicted in it, have entered into it, have been fastened in it, have submerged into it, have merged into it, have been reflected in it. In this manner, the one pure soul perceives directly in a single moment. Or to say it in another way, because its radiance spreads without obstruction due to its inherent expansive nature, permanent knowledge, Shai Gyan, necessarily knows everything at all times, everywhere, in all ways, and in totality. In Bhagavati Aradhana, the omniscience knowledge of all 3 times is clearly expressed as follows. He sees and knows all substances along with their modifications in all 3 times, past, present, and future, just as they are. In the same way, he perceives the entire universe free from fear and delusion. Similarly, Acharya Amit Gati conveys the same idea in Yog Sar. The past and future of entities, just as they exist fully in their respective times, are also known by omniscience in exactly the same way. The proof of omniscience has been established in detail by Acharya Samantra Badr in Aptamimamsa, by Acharya Aklan Dev in its commentary Astati, and by Acharya Vidyanandi in Ashtahasri. The topic of the proof of omniscience is a principal subject in Jain logic. In a way, the entire field of Jain logic is devoted to establishing the validity of omniscience. Even so, when scholars, adorned with numerous degrees in logic, begin to express doubts about omniscience or start proposing new interpretations of it, one cannot help but be astonished. The omniscient Lord's knowledge of the future is not indeterminate, as in, if he studies, he will pass, but rather definite, as in, he will study and will certainly pass, or he will not study and will not pass. In accepting the future as fixed, the ignorant person feels that the independence of the substance is being violated. But he fails to consider that if the future were to be regarded as indeterminate, then astrology and other forms of prognostic knowledge would turn out to be imaginary. Whereas announcements of solar eclipses and the like are made years in advance, and they turn out to be true. clairvoyance, avdigyan, and telepathy, mana paryay gyan, too, with their respective limits, do in fact know the future. The omnisciently proclaimed Jain scriptures are replete with definite declarations of events millions of years in the future, and all those declarations are in the language of certainty. This will definitely happen. To deny the omniscient Lord's knowledge of the future would amount to renouncing Jain scriptures in their entirety. If the idea of sequentially bound modification did not occur to us earlier, and it happens to be presented in this era through a person whom we, for some reason, do not favor, this still should not mean that we deny omniscience knowledge of the future, and in doing so, strike an axe at our own feet. Before taking such a self-destructive step, a sincere appeal is made to the thinking class to reconsider the matter once again.
Yeah, stop. So this is the end of the 5th module. We had seen 8 references from different scriptures and all echoes the same understanding. Okay. So there is nothing new that we can say about this. Only thing is that our knowledge acts as an mirror, just as in mirror everything gets reflected, similarly in our knowledge screen everything gets reflected. Now as your knowledge goes on increasing and once it manifests the complete knowledge, then you are able to know complete things. That's all. So so this is all that we know about it. If you have any queries about this, then I can explain. Otherwise we are good to move ahead. Any questions about this?
I had a question.
Yes.
One paragraph touched upon astrology. So I was wondering if Jainism believes in astrology or because it spoke about that.
Jainism believes in astrology and there are acharyas who have written books on astrology. Okay. So in earlier times in Gurukul, people were studying in Gurukul, and in Gurukul they used to be taught astrology also as a subject, So it is there, but as I said, that what we have in terms of astrology now is just they want to earn money. Okay. So the solutions that they provide are maybe not the correct one. Okay. So if you get into astrology, then you become dependent on it. Okay. So it is better that you explore life as it is. Okay. When you put in the right efforts, all these astrological concepts also change, So the conclusion is we should not get into this kind of things. Basically, it's going to hinder our efforts, So efforts is supreme. We will put the right efforts and things will happen. Yeah. What you were saying, Soumya? Anything?
No, sir.
So what they've said कि छठवें काल में जैन धर्म ही नहीं होगा, और कि इंसान की मतलब whatever the profile of the human will get reduced to a smaller profile. तो ये अवधि ज्ञान है या एस्ट्रोलॉजी है?
This is तो केवल ज्ञान है.
केवल,
This is, yes, केवल ज्ञान में आया है, and also Chandragupta had seen this dreams also. So all these. So this is not based on Avdigyan, this is based on Sarvagna, omniscience.
And also Chhatte Are mein there will be no Jainism, it seems.
Yes, 5th era, the Jainism will end and there will be no religion in 6th era. People will have life of 15 to 20 years and human will eat humans. The height would be maximum, I think, 4 feet. So all these are there in the scriptures, and the scriptures have been written based on the omniscience. So it is all from the omniscience only. Okay. Okay. So we will move on to the next topic, 6th topic. When this omniscience was being discussed, so some ignorant beings had some doubt and they interpreted the scriptures in a wrong manner. And 2 examples are being given here. One from Niyam Sar, verse number 159, and the other is from Paramatma Prakash. And why this wrong interpretation was done is because the definition of real point of view and conventional point of view, there are basically broadly 4 kinds of definitions. Okay. So one definition says that Swasrito Nischay Parasrito Vyavhar. Okay. Means real point of view is self-dependent. Okay. And conventional point of view is dependent on non-self. Okay. So that is one definition. The other is the real point of view depicts the truth, bhutarth, and the conventional point of view depicts the untruth. Okay. So one statement from Niyam sir, which was being said that from the conventional point of view, the Lord knows, sees everything. This was the statement, conventional. And since they use this definition, that conventional point of view is untruth. So they took out the conclusion that omniscient does not know the universe. Okay. Because this was being said from conventional point of view, and conventional is untruth. So the omniscient Lord does not know the universe. That was their logic, which has gone absolutely wrong. And it has been clarified in the next module, the 7th module. Okay. So, so if you are putting in the wrong definitions, then the whole perspective changes. Okay. So we should always remember from what perspective what is being said, and we should apply it in that manner only. Then only you will get a balance. Otherwise, disbalance will happen. And what loss is there? Your considerable amount of life of this human lifespan, you lose because you are not able to know the truth, right? And when the time goes away, you are not going to get back the time. So it is very imperative for all of us that we remain steadfast in the right direction. Okay. So there are many phases or points where you can go wrong. So we have to be absolutely following the Jinvani in the right manner, in the right perspective, then only we will be progressing. Otherwise, there are many points where you will get struck up and you will never know that you are struck up. Now, just now we discussed one concept about the efforts. Okay. So if you don't realize the difference, you will stuck up, because Jia will know that when the right effort, when the time will come, my effort will be 100%. So you're just waiting for the right time. That is not the way that you define effort. Effort is something that you do. Effort is something that you carry that confidence that I'm going to do this. We are all ambitious in our, say, worldly life, right? If you don't have ambition, how you will go and work? How will you go and do business? How will you do a job? Because in job, you are every moment you are given task, that Jia, you have to complete this task by Friday, by Saturday, by this, by that. And that's why they are paying you so much of salary. So there you say that what is destined, it will happen. They will turn you out, right? So there we don't do that. But when it comes to religion, then we say that when the efforts will have to come, it will come. So this is a wrong understanding. And this is a serious problem, because problem is only serious when you don't realize the problem. That is the seriousness of the problem. Okay. So once you know that there is a problem, you realize the mistake, then there is a scope for improvement. But if you don't realize the mistake only, then there is no point of improvement. Okay. So your efforts are muted, and at some point of time, you will deviate from the path. Okay. So this is the risk that we all carry, that we have to be on the path. Little bit here and there, you are in the wrong direction. And once you go into the wrong direction, it will take a lot of time to come back to the original space from where you went to the wrong direction, and then progress on the marg. So it is very good that we follow Jinvani in the right perspective, so that we don't deviate from the right path. Okay, so what the ignorant being did, that we are going to see from here from two references, and how the wrong interpretations happened and what would be the correct. Okay, so first we will see the wrong interpretation by the ignorant being. Okay, that is the sixth module, disturbed by these extremely clear scriptural proofs. Okay, he is referring the scriptural proofs. So Madhuji, you read.
Yes, sir. Disturbed by these extremely clear scriptural proofs and irrefutable arguments, some people attempt to shield themselves from these powerful blows by taking refuge in Niyamsar, verse 159, which is as follows. From the conventional point of view, Vyavar, Vyavar, Vyavarnaya, the omniscient Lord knows and sees everything from the real or absolute viewpoint. Niskanyaya, the possessor of perfect knowledge, knows and sees the soul. A similar statement is also found in
Paramatam Prakash.
Paramat Prakash. I bow to those liberated ones who are established in their own self through absolute conception and who, from the conventional viewpoint, doubtlessly and directly sees the habitable and non-habitable universe. On the basis of the above statements, those people say that the omniscient Lord knows the non-self only conventionally, not in reality, and convention is untrue. As stated in Sem4, verse 11, wow, can I can I omit it, sir?
English.
Yeah. Convention is untrue in meaning and reality is true in meaning. In this way, when the omniscient Lord does not even know what is non self, then what question remains of knowing the future modifications of all substances? But they're saying
Stop.
this is. Yes,
This
sir.
is the end of the sixth module, and here the doubt they have clarified. So now when the omniscient Lord does not even know what is non-self, par ko jante hi nahi, okay, then what question remains of knowing the future modification? Then how they can know all the future modification? So they want to say that this principle of sequentially bound modification is unacceptable, because the omniscient Lord does not know the non-self, and if they don't know the non-self, then their sequence also they are not knowing. So this principle of sequentially bound modification is wrong, is not justified. That is what they want to put across, and they have taken the references from the scriptures only. Niyamsar and Paramatam Prakash are two very good scriptures, and they have quoted the verse number also, and they have interpreted it wrongly, because they got the wrong definition of real point of view and conventional point of view. Here the definition that you should cover was swasrito nischay parasrito vyavhar. That which is based on the self is real point of view, and that which is based on the other or the non-self is convention. So there they got it wrong. So the whole entire meaning went wrong. That is being clarified in the seventh module. But they are saying this is also devoid of sequential reasoning. For one, saying that not knowing the external implies, from there to the next page, middle of the next page, would amount to a serious flaw. Got it? Would amount to a serious flaw. Everyone got it? Seventh module ends there. Okay. Everyone marked it? Paragraph ending with serious flaw.
It is actually on page 9, next page.
Yes, it's in page 9.
Yeah, next page, right. Got it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now this clarification of this doubt is being explained here. Why they went wrong? Because they applied the wrong definition of nischay vyavhar. Okay. they applied this definition of Nischay Vyavhar as Bhutarth and Abhutarth, truth and untruth. So conventional is untruth and real is truth. So since conventional is untruth, and here it is being said that the omniscient knows the non-self through convention. So convention is untruth. That means the omniscient does not know the non-self. And if they don't know the non-self, how the principle of sequentially bound modification stand? So that is also false. This is the argument of the ignorant being, and they have given references of the scriptures only. Okay. So this kind of mistakes may happen if you are studying on your own or you are not following somebody, then this might happen. Okay. That was I was just alerting you that there are a lot of, because now you are doing studying something which is going to take you out of this transmigration. Just imagine what thing you have undertaken for yourself. This is something, these efforts we have never done it before. If we would have done it, we would not have been here. Okay. So this is something that we are doing for the first time, and there are chances that we may deviate from the right path. There will be what you called, I'm not getting the right word. There will be some distractions coming here and there. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to be very alert to be there on the right path. And one of the distractions we discussed just now about the effort. Now this is very small, subtle thing, but just slight tilt and your efforts are muted. That's all. So now you will not realize and your time will be lost. So many years ago, I read it in the newspaper only. There was research done on humans in America, that many old age people have been asked the same question: what would you have done if you get another life? Right? So this was asked people who were 80 years of age, who have got all the wisdom of his life, experience of his life. So they all said that if I am given again a birth, I will definitely follow the spirituality. That should only be done. But then they were 80 years of age and their whole life has gone. So everybody, majority of them echoed the same understanding. So that is the loss, once you go into the wrong direction, considerable time is lost and we don't know whether we will again come back to the right path or not. And this has been happening since time immemorial. So we have to be very alert. That much is only precautions that we should take. Okay. So now the solution. Soumya, you read. But they're saying this is also devoid.
Sir. Sir, this is the line that you got marked. That is module 6 we are reading now.
No, that is over. Now 7th we are reading. But they are saying is also devoid of situational reasoning.
Okay. Okay. Module 7 starts here.
Yeah. Module starts 7. And it
Hmm.
ends in the next page. Just Maltiji said, no, page 9.
Okay,
Serious
sir.
flaws.
But they're saying this is also devoid of sequential reasoning. For one, saying that not knowing the self implies not knowing the future of the non-self may still be somewhat understandable. But how would it be established that he does not even know his own future? Therefore, it cannot be proven that he does not know the future. The second and most important point is that they have not paid attention to the essence of these statements. If those statements are properly examined in sequence, then everything becomes clear. The entire above statement, Swashrito Nishchaya Parashrito Vyavhara, that which is based on the self is real or absolute, and that which is based on the non self is convention, has been made keeping in mind these definitions as is clearly mentioned in the Sanskrit commentary on the said verse of Niyamsar. That which is with reference only to the self is a real and absolute statement, and that which involves reference to the non self is a conventional statement. Therefore, the omniscient Lord sees and knows his own soul. This is an absolute statement, and he sees and knows the other. This is a conventional statement. The import of that statement, is only this much. That he knows the non-self conventionally does not at all mean that he does not know the non-self. If one thoroughly examines verses 159 to 169 of Niyam-sar along with their Sanskrit commentary, everything naturally becomes clear. The entire passage establishes the omniscience of the Lord. Due to the concern of excessive length, it is not possible to include all of that here. An earnest request is made to sincere readers to deeply reflect on that section.
Stop.
Acharya,
Stop.
yes.
Stop. So you see why the difference was there, why the wrong interpretation, because they took the wrong definition. They took this definition that a real point of view is truth and conventional point of is untruth. And just because conventional is untruth, so the omniscient Lord does not know the non-self. And when they don't know the non-self, where is the question of knowing the sequentially bound modification? Okay. So whole thing wrong went just because of one definition wrong. Nischay and Vyavhar has got 4 major definitions. Okay. Out of this is the first, that swasrito nischay parasrito vyavhar. This is the first. The second one is nischay nahi bhutarth, vyavhar nahi abhutarth, truth, untruth. The third is vyavhar nahi mixes one attribute with another, with substance of another attribute, one modification with another modification, cause and effect. Okay, he mixes cause and effect, but real point of view does not mix anything with the other. It depicts as it is reality, as it is in reality. Okay, so these 3-4 definitions are there. Which one is being used in this context, that has to be understood. So when you read this Niyam-sar from 159 to 169 with commentaries, it's mentioned over there that this definition has been used to come to this conclusion. And they took the another definition, and that's why the doubt was there. We will continue this discussion with Pravachan Sar and others. So Pratibhaji, you can read Acharya Jaisen. This is from Pravachan Sar, verse number 39, commentary. You can straightway read the English one.
Okay. Just as the omniscient Lord, though knowing the modifications of the other substances merely in the form of direct cognition, yet performs that direct cognition while being wholly absorbed in his own pure soul, whose nature is spontaneous bliss and undivided oneness through the absolute viewpoint. In the same way, even a person of pure discernment, though he knows the attributes and modifications of other substances through the conventional viewpoint, still truly knows only the corresponding modification of his own unchanging self-awareness through the absolute viewpoint. According to the above statement, from the perspective by which the omniscient Lord is said to know only the self and not the non-self, that is from the absolute viewpoint, even the right believer knows only the self and not the non-self. Therefore, if you consider the omniscient knowledge of the non-self to be untrue, then you must also consider the right believer's knowledge of the non-self, which is directly evident to be untrue. It is hoped that the knowledge of the enlightened ones will not be unacceptable to you either. Secondly, the omniscient Lord knows the self by being completely absorbed in it. But although he knows the non-self, he is not absorbed in it. For this reason too, his knowledge of the non-self is termed conventional. You want me to continue?
Yes.
In Parmat Prakasha, chapter 1, the commentary on verse 52 discusses this matter with great clarity. Question: if the omniscient Lord knows the habitable and the non-habitable universe from the perspective or conventional viewpoint, then would his omniscience also be only from conventional viewpoint and not from absolute viewpoint? Answer. Just as he knows his own soul by being fully absorbed in it, in the same way he does not know other substances by being absorbed in them. For this reason, his knowledge of the other is termed conventional, not because there is an absence of knowledge. If just as with his own substance, he were to know other substances also from absolute viewpoint by becoming absorbed in them, then by knowing the pleasures and pains of others, he would himself become happy or miserable, and by knowing the attachment and aversion of others, he would himself become attached or averse. Such a consequence would amount to a serious flaw.
Stop. So this is the end of module number 7. So another reason that we got is that omniscient Lord, first of all, the argument that omniscient Lord does not know the non-self, that has been already discussed. Okay. So the other point is that the knowledge itself is swapar prakashak. It knows the self and the non-self by nature. Knowledge by nature, knowledge attribute by nature knows self, non-self simultaneously. Swapar prakashak, its nature is swapar prakashak. The nature of the knowledge attribute is swapar prakashak, self and non-self. It knows the self also and non-self. So we cannot deny that a right believer does not know the non-self. Okay, that we can already make out. So self and non-self are both known to the right believer also and to the omniscient also. But one thing is there, that the omniscient knows the non-self, but they are not absorbed in it. They are absorbed in the self, but because of its knowing capacity of non-self, it is knowing the non-self as a par prakashak only. Okay. So swapar prakashak is the nature of the omniscient, and in its par prakashak, it knows the whole habitable and non-habitable universe as a non-self, not as a self. Because the omniscient, above the 7th stage of spiritual development, everyone is absorbed in themselves. Okay. And we are talking of the omniscient who is in the 13th stage. So technically he is absorbed in himself. But because of his knowing nature of self and non-self, it is knowing the non-self as a non-self. Okay. So the second point that was discussed here, referring the Paramatam Prakash, okay, if the omniscient Lord knows the habitable and non-habitable universe from the perspective of conventional viewpoint, then would his omniscience also be only from conventional viewpoint and not from absolute viewpoint? Then the answer, just as he knows his own soul by being fully absorbed in it, in the same way he does not know other substance by being absorbed in them. For this reason, his knowledge of the other or the non-self is termed conventional, not because there is an absence of knowledge. So he knows the non-self, but since he does not know it by absorbing in it, so then it is called conventional. So the omniscient Lord knows the non-self because of from the conventional viewpoint. That's all. Okay. So you have understood, hope, that the mistake happened just because they didn't get the right perspective. Okay. So it's our responsibility to understand things in the right perspective. And if you understand things in the right perspective, then only the right knowledge will manifest. Because if you don't understand the right perspective, then there always will remember doubt, perverseness, and indecision. 3 things. Sansay, Viparya, Anadyavasai. Okay. Samsay, Viparya, Anadyavasai. These are the 3 flaws of right knowledge. Okay. So right knowledge is devoid of sansay, doubt. Then Viparya. perverseness, and anadyavasai, that is indecision. Okay. So you have to understand from which perspective what is being said and understand it in the right sense. Then only the right knowledge can manifest. Now we are moving on to the 8th module. Okay. And now we will be discussing other references which proves this principle of sequentially bound modification. Okay. So 8th module starts from here. The crown jewel among dialecticians. Dialecticians, the one person who does the debate, debate. These are Acharya Samanbhadra was very famous for that. He did many debates with Bodh and the other non-Jains and defeated them. And in those times, the person who gets defeated, they will accept the religion of the other person. So he indulged in lot of religious debates, and because of his intellect, he defeated those persons, and that's how he did so much prabhavana of Jain Dharma. And that's why he is also being referred as Kalikal Sarvagna. Okay. So Samanbhadra Acharya in the Mangalacharan, so this reference is also given. Then there are some other references also given. So the 8th module starts from the crown jewel. Okay. From there to the next page, lifespan determining karma. Or maybe in the last paragraph of your page, you just check it out. Lifespan determining karma. Okay. So there it ends. Very small one. And who is going to read next? Himali, you are left over.
So I
Read.
can't find that lifespan. Ayukarma.
So you start reading, I will stop it.
The crown jewel among dialecticians, Acharya Samantabhadra, in his auspicious invocation of the Ratna Karanda
Achar.
Achar, speaks of how, in the omniscience of Lord Vardhaman, all entities of the three worlds, along with the non-habitable universal space, are clearly reflected in the following manner. Salutations to Lord Vardhaman, in whose mirror-like omniscience the three worlds, along with the non-habitable universal space, shine forth, and who has washed away the impurity in the form of karmic defilement, such as knowledge obscuring karma. In this way, omniscience and knowledge of the three types are naturally established through the authoritative testimonies of universally revered Jain philosophers like Acharya Kunkun, Kartikeya, Samantabhadra, Umaswami, Pujyapada, Vedsena, Amrit Chandra, Ravi Sena, and many other eminent acharyas. Even after presenting numerous scriptural evidences, people still insist. These tell us clearly in which scripture is the doctrine of sequentially bound modification mentioned. But my response is there any scripture where sequentially bound modification is not spoken of? In all four categories of scriptures, Anurogs, indeed, even in daily worship and recitation, at every step, the voice of sequentially bound modification resounds clearly. In the radiant aura of Tirthankar Lord, a soul capable of liberation sees 7 of its own births. Of these 7 births, 3 belong to the past, 3 to the future, and 1 is the present birth. According to this, at least 3 future births of this Jeev are necessarily predetermined. Otherwise, how could they be seen? The lifespan determining karma, that is Ayu karma, of 3 births cannot be bound simultaneously. Therefore, it cannot be said that the births became fixed due to the binding of lifespan determining karma. The clear conclusion that emerges is this: those future births were already predetermined. They are not determined by the binding of lifespan determining karma.
Stop. Okay, so here the module 8 ends, and in this module they have given two more references, one from the Samanbhadra Acharya's Ratnakaran Shravakachar. So Ratnakaran Shravakachar is a scripture written specially exclusively for the householders, Shravak. Okay, so two scriptures are very famous for the Shravaks. One is Ratnakaran Shravakachar and the other is Purshat Siddhi Upay. Okay, so Pursat Siddhi Upay we are going to study in full, maybe in the 7th Sem. Okay, but so these two scriptures, and this in the invocation Manglacharan of Ratnakaran Shravakachar, this is the salutations to the omniscient has also been done, and because he knows the three world, that is what they want to highlight it. And the second reference that they gave is of Bhamandal. You know, in the Samosaran where the Lord is there, there is a radiant aura behind the Tirthankar. And if you go to the Samosaran and see that, you will see that your 7 births are reflected. 3 previous birth, which we don't know, that will be also seen there. Then the present birth, that also will be seen there, and the 3 future births. Now, the Karnan Yoga says that we bound our next life in this birth. It cannot be done before that. So what next birth we are going to take, that is going to be decided in this birth. And that's why if we are doing all the time good deeds, our birth will, if there is a binding of the lifespan, then it will be in the good kind of life birth. Okay, so it is our endeavor to be in good sentiments all the time. Okay, if we are into inauspicious sentiments and at that point of time the bondage happens, then of course it will be narak nigod only. Okay, so that is one thing, Karnan Yoga. So the Karnan Yoga says that you bound only for the next life only. Okay, so 3 births are reflecting in that radiant aura. Okay, Prabha Mandal. Okay, so that means the omniscient knows your next 3 births, and that means the sequentially bound modification principle is also correct and accepted, right? So this is another reference which is going to prove the sequentially bound modification. Now we are going to prove this sequentially bound modification from Pratman Yoga. We are going to do from all 4 exposition one by one. So first in the line is Prathmanu Yoga, where there are 4 examples given. Okay, so 9th module starts with Prathmanu Yoga, 4 examples from Prathmanu Yoga. I will mark it out when it comes. Okay, so the first one begins with Lord Neminath. It's a very interesting passage of events. We will just read it out, everyone will understand. There is nothing that is not to be understood, but just try to analyze the causes and the other facts that are mentioned here in this story. Okay, so you will realize that how this sequentially bound modification is so correct, and omniscience just knows about it, and they have said that in their sermons, and things unfold accordingly. Okay, and these are something said like the case of Marichi. Adinath Bhagwan told this many years ago that he will become the 24th Tirthankar, Marichi, and he became the 24th Tirthankar. So it is all predestined, that's why it is happening, no? So this also goes on to the proving that principles of Krambat Paryay. Okay, so we will see 4 examples. First one we are starting now, and we are going to repeat this. So Malti ji, you read again.
Yes, sir. Lord Neminath had foretold the burning of Dwarka 12 years in advance. He had also clearly stated the instrumental cause, the manner, and the exact time at which it would occur. Despite numerous efforts to prevent it, everything unfolded exactly as foretold. Yes, one thing is certain, The response of the listeners to that proclamation differed according to their individual destinies. Those whose future was auspicious developed detachment or vairagya upon hearing it. Many embraced the naked Digambar renunciation. Numerous others undertook small vows, anuvrats, and many attained right belief. But those destined for a lower rebirth, though of how to avert was though of how to avert what was said by the Lord. They became preoccupied with trying to see how Dwarka would not burn. It was as though they directed all their effort towards proving the Lord's words false. But the Lord had merely spoken what he had seen and known. He was neither the doer nor the instigator of those events. In the Lord's discourse, the burning of Dwarka was clearly described along with both its principal cause and instrumental causes. However, those whose belief was dependent on instrumental causes paid no attention to the principal cause. Instead, they focused solely on removing the instrumental causes, and in their view, having removed the instrumental causes, they believed themselves to be safe. But those with belief dependent on instrumental causes do not have firm faith in the Lord's omniscience. Their outlooks remain unsettled. It is not that they lacked all faith in the Lord's words. If they had none, why would they feel fear? Why would they become anxious? Why would they try, even in vain, to avert what was foretold? They had faith, but not firm faith. Trust, but not complete trust. It was wavering. It was wavering, uncertain faith. Those whose worldly journey is nearing its end alone come to truly grasp omniscience. It was revealed in the Lord's divine song, Dividvani, that Dwarka would burn down 12 years later. The ignorant thought this meant that the Lord himself would set Dwarka ablaze after 12 years. But the Lord had nothing to do with it. He was dispassionate, vitrag, completely free from attachment and aversion towards anyone. Hence, the question of him burning Dwarka simply does not arise. However, he was also omniscient. He could see the future as vividly and clearly in the present as if it were unfolding before him now. Therefore, at that very moment, he clearly saw Dwarka burning 12 years hence. The flames that would rise after 12 years were already clearly visible to him then. This truth spontaneously emerged in his speech. He himself did not set it ablaze, nor did anyone else burn it, because the principal cause contained the inherent capacity to be consumed by fire at its destined time. And the instrumental cause through which it would burn was also embedded within that very capacity. There was no agency of any external entity involved, because those instrumental causes through which Dwarka was destroyed did not themselves wish for it to happen. The world does not attend to this inherent potency of the principal cause. That is precisely why the natural unfolding of the world escapes its understanding.
Stop. So this is the end of example 1. Okay. Bhagwan Neminath and Dwarka. Everyone knows about this story. So people made efforts to avoid that tragedy. Dipayan Muni also went away, and just because it was a leap year, so there was one additional month which they didn't make out, and so he returned 1 month earlier, and he only became an instrumental cause in the burning of Dwarka. Okay. So the thing is that Neminath Bhagwan told 12 years ago, and everything unfolded as told by him. So he knew in his omniscience knowledge, and that's how he depicted those events. And for him, the future events were just reflecting in his knowledge screen as it is in the present. The flames after 2 years, what kind of flames will emerge, and who will die, and who will be saved, everything was clear, and he just told what he got reflected in his knowledge screen, omniscient knowledge screen. Okay. So this is again proving the principle of sequentially bound modification. Now the second example, Lord Adinath. Okay. 2 paragraphs only, Madhuji.
Yes, sir. Lord Adinath had foretold everything that would happen to Marichi up to 10 million times 10 million. Sagara is a colossal amount of time in the future. Do you doubt the truth of that? Was all that not already predetermined? It had been declared countless lifetimes earlier that he would be the 24th Tirthankar. At that point, the bondage of Tirthankar, nature, karma, had not even occurred. Tirthankara Prakriti. Because once a Tirthankar Prakriti is bound, countless lifetimes cannot follow. The one who binds Tirthankar Prakriti either attains liberation in that very birth or at most within 3 lifetimes. Therefore, it also cannot be said that the future was fixed because of the bondage of karma. All of this only establishes that it was predetermined, even during the time of Adinath, that he would be the 24th Tirthankara. And if it was predetermined that he would be the 24th Tirthankara, then the intermediate lifetime must also be predetermined. It is precisely because they were predetermined that they could not be known and foretold.
They
In
could not, it is not there. They could be known and foretold.
just a, sorry, sir. It is
Ah.
precisely because they were predetermined that they could be known and foretold.
Yes.
That's
So
it.
here the ends the
Yeah.
example. Second. Okay. So you see the Marichi and Mahavir. In between there were 10 million times 10 sagar, which is a very, very long period. And not only that was fixed, in between other lives were also fixed, that he will go to one sensed being and then again come back here and then to go there and these, that, everything. So this all Lord Adinath saw in his omniscience knowledge and through Divya Dhvani, because the Tirthankars doesn't have any desire to talk, Their Divya Dhvani is emanating from the whole body. Okay. And every living being, those who are present in the holy assembly, Samo Saran, they all understand in their own language. Okay. So, just because he saw it and that thing came out in his divine sermon and it happened accordingly. Okay. So this also establishes the principle of sequentially bound modification. Now the third and the fourth example. So it is in the one paragraph only. I'm only reading it. Okay. And then we move on to the Karnanuyog. Okay. So we are still continuing with the ninth module. Okay. Ninth module is being continued. Third and fourth. In Tillai Panatti, section 4, verses 1002 to 1016, there is a clear mention to knowing the future through the eightfold knowledge of omens. Omens means nimit gyani, nimit gyan. Okay. Instrumental cause. So this is one of the reference. The other reference is of Acharya Bhadrabhahu Swami. On the basis of knowledge of omens, had predicted a 12-year famine in North India, which came entirely true. Okay. So there is a comic on this Bhadrabhahu Swami. And from during his time only, just because there was a famine to be happened, and he was a Nimit Gyani. Okay. Because of his Nimit Gyan, he realized this, that there is going to be a famine here, and 12-year period, nobody would survive here. So they all moved to the south. Okay. But those who didn't believe, they remained there. And from there, just because the time got deteriorated, there were no foods, famine, because it was famine, there was no food. So how they would survive? So while so the Sravakas also doesn't make food in that same manner the monk would consume. So they compromised on that. Then they started taking it in their containers. Okay. And because while going through the road, the dog would take up those things because everyone was hungry. Okay. It was survival of the fittest. So that's how the Svetambar Mutt started during Bhadrabhahu Swami's time. Those who didn't listen to him stayed over here, and because of that they started another path called Svetambar. Okay. So there is a comic on this. Soumya, you have seen that comic?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have read it, sir.
So if you get a copy, you can scan and share in the group, or you can get a PDF if it is fine. You can share in the
Yeah.
group, everyone will see. Okay.
Okay.
So this is one example, and the next example is of Emperor Chandragupta, and had dreams on the basis of which future events were also foretold. So Chandragupta said what will happen in the 5th era and what will happen in the 6th era. All this has been said in his dreams, So these two examples, 3 and 4. Okay. So we have 4 examples from Prathman Yoga. Now moving on to Karnan Yoga. Another 4 points are there that I am going to discuss. So still we are continuing with the 9th module. So there is no change in module, but the topic changes from Dravyan Yoga to Karnan Yoga. And then of course we will be discussing Charnan Yoga and Dravyan Yoga. So first we will see the Karnanu Yoga. Okay. So furthermore, is it not written in the Karnan Yoga? So this is the first point. Okay. The next paragraph is the second point, then the third point, and then in the next page, the fourth point will come, then I will tell you. But now we are just seeing these 3 points first. Okay. And the explanation about it. So Himali, you read.
Excuse me, sir. Is there a fourth example you were telling?
So fourth example is of Emperor Chandragupta's dreams.
Okay. Okay.
It's not explained here, but it is there
Right,
in
right.
the Pratmanyuk scriptures, whatever dreams he had seen, and based on that, the future events have been visualized, and it is happening the same way.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Further, is it not written in Karnanu Yoga that in 6 months and 8 samay, 608 Jeeves will emerge from the lowest form of life, and in the same amount of time, an equal number of Jeeves will attain liberation? Can more Jeeves than that emerge from the lowest form of life or attain liberation? Is that not predetermined? If it is, then does it not undermine the independence of the entity? Why will only these many Jeeves attain liberation? Why not more? In Karnanu Yoga, the fixed number of Jeeves in the 4 realms is stated, and that number never increases or decreases. If everything were not predetermined, then the number of infernal beings, Narki, and celestial beings, Dev, should vary accordingly to their sins and merits, Punya and Pap and Punya. Karnanu Yoga also states that when a Jeev emerges from the lowest form of life since eternity, Nitya Nigod, it does so for 2000 sagas. During that time, it goes through a specific number of births as beings with 2 senses, 3 senses, 4 senses, and 48 births as a human. What is all this then? Does this not lead to the conclusion that the number of Jeeves in all 4 realms of existence is fixed? That each Jeev's sequence of birth is also fixed, and that this sequence too is predetermined? Otherwise, how would the entire arrangement remain in order? At some places, there would be overcrowding, while others would lie vacant, but that never happens. Upon this, people begin to feel, forget dharma. Do we even have control over performing merit or sin? Are we entirely bound then? To them we say, auspicious and inauspicious dispositions continue to alternate naturally because neither of them lasts longer than an antarmudat. Time between 1 avdi plus 1 samay and 1 avdi less than 48 minutes. Samay equals moment. Avdi equals innumerable samays. Hence, change is inevitable in every antarmudat. Even with boundless effort, you cannot remain in an auspicious disposition for more than an antarmudat. If you do not ascend into the pure state, then a fall into the impure is inevitable. This transformation also occurs even in the lowest form of life. Auspicious dispositions arise there too. Otherwise, how would a jeev ever emerge from the lowest form of life? The merit required to become a 5 sense being with a mind being is bound by jeeves ranging from 1 sense to 5 sense mindless beings while still in the mindless state. Those sons of Bharat Chakravarti who emerge from the lowest forms of life, bypassing any significant intermediate births, became the sons of the universal monarch and attained liberation in that very life, had bound the merit of human birth and of being born in the house of a universal monarch and of attaining the type of body in which liberation occurs while still in the mindless state. But all of this unfolded effortlessly in a natural sequence. It became possible naturally. There was no deliberate, intellect driven effort involved. As has been said, even so, I would like to know from you what kind of meritorious dispositions do you wish to have the freedom to perform? That of attaining the status of a Tirthankar, a universal monarch, or that of an Indra and the like. When there are only 24 Tirthankars and not even two simultaneously in a single region, can two jeeves bind the merit capable of making them Tirthankars simultaneously? This statement is made with reference to a single region. If you say that with Dvipa, centralized inhabited region of the inhabitable universe as per Jain cosmology, there can be 170 Tirthankars at the same time. I have no objection. But then why only 170? Why not 200? Why not 200 jeeves simultaneously not bind such merits? The names of the forthcoming 24 Tirthankars in Bharat region have already been declared in the Jain scriptures. Along with that, the names of the jeeves who are to become future Tirthankars have also been declared. All of this is definite, and this is why it has been declared. Can any jeev, apart from them, bind the Tirthankar Prakriti? If not, then for the rest of us, there is no release for the next 19 Koda Kodi Sagara. And you are aware that a jeev emerges from Nitya Nigodh and remains as a 2 to 5 sensed beings only for 2000 sagas. If it does not attain liberation during this time, it must return to the lowest form of life. After that, there is no certainty for an infinite period of time. If you say, all right, not in Bharat, but they will become Tirthankars in Aidavat or Videh regions, but dear brother, when the Tirthankars of the Bharat region have already been declared, then surely the Tirthankars of the Aidavat and Videh Kshetra Videh have been declared as well. Just as scriptures here mention this region, the scriptures of those regions will mention theirs. Brother, in this omniscient knowledge, the Tirthankars across all regions and for all times have already been declared. There is no room whatsoever for doubt or deviation.
Stop. So, just a few corrections. So from where the Karnani Yoga starts, okay, from where Hemali started reading, that is module number 10, okay. That is module number 10. Karnani Yoga is module number 10 and it ends after the fourth paragraph, but that never happens, okay. So in Karnani Yoga, there were 4 points. So 3 has been mentioned. The first is that in 6 months and 8 samays, 608 jivas will emerge from the lowest form of life, that is Nigodh, and in the same amount of time, an equal number of jivs will attain liberation. Now, if that is not prefixed, how can it be said? Okay. So this also goes on to prove the principle of sequentially bound modification. The second example, that there are fixed numbers of jeeves in all the 4 realms of existence, okay. How much will be in 2 sensed, how much will be in 3 sensed, everything has been prefixed, okay. And this is only possible when it is prefixed only, okay. So all this has been said in the sermons of the omniscience, and it happens accordingly. The third reason for Karnan Yoga is that Jeev emerges from the lowest form of life since eternity, Nitya Nigodh, and it does so for 2000 sagas. Now, during that time, it goes through a specific number of births, as being with 2 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents, 48 births as a human. So, in a span of 2000 sagas, which is again a very long period, you are going to get a human birth, only 48 births, out of which 16 will be as a male, 16 as a female, and 16 as a neuter. Okay. So, what is all this then? So, that means it is all predestined. That's why it is being said. So, okay. So, Karnan Yoga, we have mentioned the 3 points and then the conclusion. Does this not lead to the conclusion that the number of jivas in all 4 realms of existence is fixed? That each jiva sequence of birth is also fixed, and that their sequence too is predetermined. Otherwise, how would the entire element remain in order? At some places there would be overcrowding, while others would lie vacant, but that never happens. So this is the end of module number 10. Okay. Now the next module starts is 11, and we are already through half of number 11 module, where Hemali stopped, and in between we got another example from Karnan Yoga, the names of the 24 Tirthankar of the next 24 Tirthankars have been mentioned in Bharat Kshetra. We all know, right? And there are many temples where there are deities of these 424 Tirthankars, future 24 Tirthankars. In Sonagiri, you can see all the 24 Tirthankars of the next period are also names mentioned, and the idols are also there. So if it is not fixed, how would they know the name? So this also proves that the principle of sequentially bound modification is correct. Okay. So this is the 4th example of Karnan Yoga. Now the 11th module starts, and it says, the heading says that even the sentiments of auspicious and inauspicious is not in our hand. That also happens automatically. Okay. So a soul who is in the one sensed being of Nigodh, lowest form of life, from there he gets into 2 cents to 3 cents. It's a mindless state. Okay, asangi. So when there is a mindless state, there is no effort. Effort is only possible when you have got a mind. Okay, sangi panchendriya are only eligible for any efforts, and they only can manifest right belief. Okay, so before that it is only a one-way traffic. Your karmas uday will be there, and you will suffer accordingly. Punya and pap, punya and pap. Nothing in your hand, no efforts. Okay. So, 1 minute. Huh? Yeah.
So,
Sorry. Yeah.
so these 608 jeeves that will emerge from the lowest form of life and get liberation, these will not be Tirthankars. They will just. What
Ordinary.
happens, sir, when you get liberation? What happens to your soul? I mean, you stop that cycle of birth and death.
Yes.
And what happens, sir, to the soul?
Soul is there permanently, so it is eternal. So it goes and stays there in the Siddhalaya.
Okay.
Permanent abode.
Okay.
So right now also, soul is distinct from the body.
Yeah.
Although it exists in the body, but not a single space of soul has touched the body, and not a single space of matter body has touched the soul. They remain aloof. Okay, different. They remain different only. So that same soul, now it is here, then it will move on to the liberated state, because all the karmas has been destroyed. So now he is not going to wander from one space to another space. The transmigration has stopped. Now we will be permanently there. Okay, no further changes. The permanent destination is there, and all the time he will be experiencing complete eternal bliss, avyabhat sukh, unlimited sukh. Okay, same experience, every new modification, same experience, same experience, same experience. Okay,
So,
so
sir,
So the soul does not have any form over there.
pardon, liberated
Does-
soul does not have any form, but it occupies the last form that you have occupied. Okay,
slightly
so
less.
Adinath Bhagwan was say 500 dhanush height. Okay,
Right.
so he is in the liberated state in that form, slightly less than that. And Mahavir Bhagwan was 7 feet. So he's there with slightly less stature of 7 feet.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.
Then the form does not change.
So, sir, between a liberated soul
Hmm.
and Tirthankar Bhagwan,
Hmm.
the only difference is that the Tirthankar Bhagwan knows the past, present, and future, but the liberated soul will not know that.
No, liberated soul, how do one get liberated? First, it gets omniscient. In the 13th stage, he becomes omniscient. And then only after 14th stage, he gets liberated, right? So
sir,
he also knows the difference between the Tirthankar and an ordinary liberated soul is that Tirthankar will have holy assembly and all the pomp and grandeur. And ordinary soul will not have like that. That's only the difference.
but that ordinary soul will also know the past, present, future.
Yes.
Oh.
Whoever manifests omniscient knowledge, he knows past, present, future, everything. Okay. So now the 11th module says that even the auspicious and inauspicious sentiments are not in our hand. It is all predestined, and that is what it proved. And in between, we got the fourth example of Karnan Yug. 24 Tirthankars are fixed. Then those sons of Bharat Chakravarti. Okay, that also example was there, that you can use it in Pratman Yoga also if you want. Okay, so those 100 sons of Bharat Chakravarti, they came out of one sensed being. Of course, in between they had few births, others also, but that is not been counted. They took a human life and they didn't speak a word, and they got liberated. They became monk, they got liberated. They never spoke a word. They never preached anybody. Okay. So it is not compulsory that you have to preach to get liberated. You can get liberated. You have to just get absorbed in yourself to get liberated. Okay. So the task is very easy, and it's same for all the souls. Okay. So all these things happened while they were in one sensed being, because they come out of one sensed being, and in between they had some other births, and then they got a human life. So all these happened when they were in mindless state. Okay. So nothing is happening because of the efforts. That's what they want to depict here, that even your sentiments are also prefixed, predetermined. Okay. So that's the 11th module, and 11th module will still continue. It is not over. Okay. So 24 Tirthankars in Bharat, in this region is also fixed, and similar with Airavat and Mahavidya are also fixed. Okay. Then we will continue this 11th module. Okay, and I will let you know where it ends. Let me find out. So it ends here. Hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it ends at in the next page, support at every step. Support at every step. Are you getting it? On what page number you have that?
13.
14?
13.
13. Okay. So in the middle or below?
Middle.
Middle. Okay.
Fifth.
Support at every step. The module number 11 ends and then starts the 12th module. Charnaniyog and Dravyaniyog. Okay. So that will be 12. Okay. So let's finish the 11th one. If someone says from there you have to read, and Soumya is there, she will read. If it is, she's there. Jia?
If someone,
So
yes,
Jia
sir.
will, yeah, you are there, Soumya?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, then you read.
If someone says, fine, perhaps not the merit for a Tirthankara, but I will become a universal monarch instead. But the seats for universal monarchs are even fewer. In the time it takes for 224 Tirthankaras to appear in one region, there are only 12 universal monarchs. If the Tirthankaras are fixed, then surely the universal monarchs must also be fixed. The scriptures do not provide mention of each and every one simply because it is impractical to list everything. By mentioning the Tirthankaras, it has been generally conveyed that everything is in fact predetermined. It is also necessary to know this. It is not necessary to know what will happen to whom. Even if the future of everyone were revealed, who would be able to remember it all? And besides, who is really interested in knowing the future of others? Everyone is only concerned with knowing their own. All right then, not a Tirthankara, not a universal monarch, at least we will perform merit and go to the celestial realm. But even there, a seat must be vacant for you to go, must it not? There is no untimely death in the celestial realm. If a celestial being, Deva or Indra, has just arrived in a celestial realm, then until their lifespan is fully completed, no other jiva can bind the merit necessary for that very position. And those lifespans, they last for sagaras, not just in the celestial realm, even in the infernal realm. One cannot enter unless there is a vacancy. You will be born only at that time and in that place for which your position is secured. Only then and only there will you receive that place. According to the testimony of Jinvani, this is precisely how it is. It is another matter if one chooses not to accept Jinvani itself, but even that does not bring any resolution, for then one would have to abandon many other things as well. One would no longer be able to accept Adinath nor Mahavir. Accepting the 24 Tirthankaras or the 12 universal monarchs would also not be possible. For all these are accepted on the basis of what it is written in the scriptures. And if the scriptures are no longer held to be true, then everything collapses. Have you ever truly reflected on how much you have accepted solely on the basis of the scriptures? Just take a moment to think it through, and you will see. Celestial realm and infernal realm, all of it disappears. What will remain is only that which is visible before your eyes. I trust you would not be willing to go that far. And if you find some merit in what I am saying, then I urge you to consider it seriously just once. When even those scholars who consider themselves expert in Pratmanayog or Karnanayog oppose the idea that all modifications are sequentially governed, one cannot help but be astonished, for in both Pratmanayog and Karnanayog, this principle receives emphatic support at every step.
Stop. So Pratmaniyog and Karnaniyog is over. Now we will move on to Charnaniyog and Dravyaniyog. Okay. So not
So
only
these,
Tirthankars are fixed, but Chakravarti,
that's what.
Narayan, Prati Narayan, all are fixed. Okay. And this happens in that manner only. So this 11th module ends here, and now we move on to the 12th module where we will be discussing Charnan Yoga and Dravyan Yoga. Okay, so 2 exposition over and 2 are left. So Jia, you read one paragraph only because Charnan Yoga Dr. Sahib has not mentioned in his this book. Okay, so I will explain you the Charnan Yoga, how we can prove the principle of sequentially bound modification from Charnan Yoga. Okay. But Dravya Yoga is already mentioned here, and that we will read from here only the next class. So, Jia, you read one paragraph of module number 12. Similarly,
Yes, sir. Similarly, in the scriptures of Charnanu Yoga and Ravyanu Yoga, this view echoes throughout. Citations from Samayasar, Atmakhyati, and Kartikeya Anupreksha have already been presented. In the Pradipika commentary on verse 102 of Pravachan Sar as well, there is mention of origination movement and cessation movement of a modification. That too reinforces this point.
stop. So, we stop here today, but we are going to continue this in the next class. So, before that, Charana Yoga, no examples have been mentioned over here, but I am giving you, you can write it down in your this textbook only, just below the page. So, from Charana Yoga, how we can prove this sequentially bound modification. So, in Charana Yoga, there are some limits mentioned, like if you bring a milk, then within 48 minutes, if you don't heat it up, okay, they will have samurchan jeev in that milk. Okay, so then it becomes an abaks. After 48 minutes, it becomes an abaks if you don't heat it up. But once you heat it up, then 24 hours duration is valid for that milk. Okay, you are good to consume that milk within 24 hours. Again, after 24 hours, those samurchan jeev will arise in that. Okay, so how do you know this? Because we know all these through omniscience, and omniscience knows the whole sequentially bound modification about this. The second example is of water. So once you filter a water, with a double layer filter cloth, then the duration is 48 minutes. After 48 minutes, again uh, the living beings uh, takes birth in that water. Okay, so within 48 minutes you have to consume that water. Otherwise, there is an option that you heat it up. Okay, so you heat it up in a manner that there are 3 times those bubbles come out. So to that level, if you heat, it is 24 hours validity. Okay, so water has got 2 kinds of validity. One is immediately after you filter, within 48 minutes, it is valid to consume. And then if you heat it up within 48 minutes, no, then there is another option for 6 hours, which is that if you put in some, say, loving clove in it or soap in it, so the color changes. So then it's a
No.
6 hour duration. Yeah,
Yeah.
6 hour duration. But if you heat it up, then it becomes a 24-hour duration. Heat it up to the extent that the bubbles start coming out of it. At that point in time, you stop it, and then the validity is for 24 hours. So what we do in our home every day, we boil this water in the evening. Okay, around 6 o'clock. So nowadays it is 6:25, and we put it in the induction, and it gets heat up in the 21 minutes. Maybe 21 minutes is what the limit is set. Okay, so then the next day morning, it's good for consuming because it has cooled down. So next evening, up to next evening, it is valid. Okay, so every day we do it like that, because if we do it in the morning, then it takes time to cool it down, and you are not able to consume that water. So we do it that way. So all these limitations are being mentioned by the omniscient. The third example of the masalas and the flours, wheat flours and all, they have validity of different duration during different seasons. Now it's a rainy season, so 3 days duration is there. And after this Ashtanika, after the Diwali, there will be Ashtanika, and from Ashtanika onwards, it will be 7 days validity throughout the winter. Okay, and then when again the summer comes, it will be 5 days validity. Now, who says this? Because after 5 days, automatically the living beings arises in those. Okay, so then it is not good for consumption. Okay, then it becomes a non-eatable. So all these limitations are known by the omniscient in his omniscient knowledge, and they have mentioned in their sermons in Charnanyog scriptures. The fourth one is there are 22 types of non-eatables mentioned that we studied in Balbodh. Okay, all these are known by the omniscient. Okay. The fifth point is about the true God, true scriptures, and true monks. All these have been, what are the characteristics of a true God, true scriptures, and true monks, all has been mentioned in the sermons of the omniscient. And from there we know all this about. Then there are mentioning of the 6 essentials of a householder and 6 essentials of a monk. These are all have come from the omniscient's knowledge. Okay. So all these goes on to prove from Charnan Yoga that everything is predestined. This principle proves the omniscient, and based on omniscient, we also prove the sequentially bound modification system. Okay. So Charnan Yoga has been discussed. Now Dravyan Yoga, 2 examples we have already seen. The Samaisar one, while defining the sequentially bound modification definition, the first reference that we studied was from Samaisar, verse number 308 to 311, from where this principle of Krambat Paryay evolved. Okay, so that was one reference we studied, and the other was one from Kartikanyu Preksha, verse number 321, 322, 323, where it mentions that everything is predetermined. Okay, so these 2 references we have seen. Now the third reference from Pravachan Sadhanam, Gatha number 99 is coming up, that we are going to discuss in the next class, and it's a very good principle. It's again is based on the substance, attributes, and modifications. Okay, so that we will discuss in the next class, and that is the 12th module we are going to continue. Okay, so Dravyan Yoga we are going to explain it in detail. Charnyan Yoga, it was not there, so I mentioned it. You can write it down somewhere, and I'll ask a question on this in your either in your CC or in your Gandhar Mulyankan. Okay, so 2 assignments we are going to do from here. One is Gandhar Mulyankan and one is CC2 on this topic, Krambat Paryay. So I'll be finalizing it in the next few weeks. Let we get into the middle of the portion, and at that time I'll be in a position to give you topics what is to be done. So we will continue studying from the next class. This principle of Dravyan Yoga based on Pravachan Sarg verse number 99 is a bit subtle. Okay, but I will try to explain you that based on this verse, we can prove the principle of sequentially bound modification. Okay, so they have used different analogies here in this explanation, that also very good. If you want to read, you can read it, and I can tell you where it ends, So the 12th module ends at, okay. So it ends at next page, origination, cessation, permanence. Next page. Have you got it? 12 ends there, and the 13th starts. The phrase an interwoven unified flow constructed, that is 13th. All of you got the end of 12? Characterized by origination, cessation, permanence.
Yes. Mhm.
Which page number it is you just mentioned?
On 14, fifth paragraph.
Okay. Page number 14, fifth
Yeah, page number
paragraph.
14 and ends on the fifth paragraph.
Okay. So everyone note it down. Okay. And then the 13th module starts. That will be discussing in the next class. Okay. So you can read. I know that you will not be able to understand, but still you can try and read the 12th and 13th module, few pages, so that next time you understand it better. And any other questions you have? We have just 1 minute left.
The 13 starts from in this manner
Yes.
and ends where, sir?
Ending, I will let you know in the next class only.
Okay, sir.
But you can continue. This is in an essay form, but because of the other book that we have, Krambat Paryay Nirdeshika, this is the book, Krambat Paryay Nirdeshika. By Pandit Abhay Kumarji, we come to know about these modules, and that has made easy. Where the points are changing, we don't know because it's in full essay form. So because of these pointers, we are able to make the distinctions among different viewpoints. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So we are good to close. Today is the last day of your assignment, and if you are not able to complete on time, just leave me a message, your problem, or if you want any help, I am available. Okay. And the two assignments that you have already completed so far, the one is the Viva and the other is CC1. If you want a feedback on those two assignments, then you have to call me personally, fix an appointment, and we can discuss what more you can improve, or if it is good, whatever. I will read it again and then I will comment on that. So once you finish this assignment, you can take an appointment from me anytime, any day, and we are good to discuss. Okay.
Sir, I just want to know this
Mhm.
CC2, when will it start and when will it end? Because I will not be there in November first week.
November first week, only 1 week you will not be there, right? So we
Yes,
are giving
about
21
8 to
days
10
time.
days approximately.
Maybe, but we are giving 21 days time. So
Okay.
you can come back and do it. There is no problem about that.
Okay.
Either you will be here and I will give you the homework. So November, you are saying no. So we
Yes.
have this month. So most probably October end, you will get the homework.
Okay, sir.
I'll decide
Okay.
by then. Because
Okay.
3-4 class more, then almost we will be through the whole topic.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyone else? Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है। उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है।